Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Wednesday, April the 9th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and Perlo will be joining us when he gets back home later on. And we're here for this Wednesday NHL slate, a shorter slate, but we do have meaningful games on the board here for this Wednesday night. Minnesota with Marc-Andre Fleury making his final home start with the returning Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek trying to further their hold of the second wild card spot. They play San Jose, Calgary in an almost must-win game once again. Against the Anaheim Ducks. We've got St. Louis trying to nail down a playoff spot. The battle for first in the Atlantic Division with Toronto and Tampa Bay. So we do have some very intriguing games tonight on the slate. We'll get to that in a moment. First things first, we look back on last night. We say thank you to everyone that joined us on the live betcast. Great stuff. Another great betcast. Lots of fun just hanging out, live bets, watching the games. Could have been more profitable than it was with the live bets, but nevertheless, it was a solid night overall. And we will recap all of that in just a moment. We again, unfortunately, have to start the show with some brutal news, sad news in the hockey world. The passing of Ray Shero, longtime general manager in the NHL, front office executive. He was actually an assistant GM with the Nashville Predators way back when that franchise first started. And then he got his first GM job with the Pittsburgh Penguins in the 2000s. Of course, took over just when Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin were just little babies, if you will, in the organization, just young kids. And then, of course, ended up winning a Stanley Cup with the Pittsburgh Penguins as general manager in 2009. And then, of course, a few more years with Pittsburgh after that, got hired by the New Jersey Devils as GM after that, had a nice little run there. So mostly GM with the Penguins and the Devils. His dad, very well known, Fred Shero, of course, going back in time. Also great NHL hockey man, so chip off the old block, if you will. Ray Shero following his pops and going into the hockey circles, and a great hockey man, great to talk to, always in jovial spirits from all accounts and people that associated with Ray Shero on a regular basis. So my goodness, 62 years old. It's just too young to unfortunately lose your life. And again, we have to unfortunately say goodbye too soon to another member of the hockey community. So RIP and rest in peace, Ray Shero, and condolences to his family. And Alex, of course, you're living in Minnesota right now. That's where Ray Shero's from, St. Paul, Minnesota, right in your neck of the woods. But yeah, unfortunate. We're in one of these phases right now where we're losing people here. And it's just been that kind of a week. But great career for Ray Shero, and from all accounts, really solid man and a very, very intellectual hockey mind, and evidenced by the success he had as a front office executive and general manager.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, another death in the league where, a man of quite a young age, 62 years old, and a sudden passing. And, the irony of the date, because we'll talk about it a little bit later, with today being, Marc-Andre Fleury's final home start, a guy who, they've had ties with, of course, Pachero being the GM in the Penguins during those years where they've won cups. And then, of course, back here again, and working under Bill Guerin, of course, Guerin with ties to Pittsburgh as well. And then, of course, now here in Minnesota. So bringing things kind of full circle, and to lose him on a night like this and a day like this is it certainly will be a moment of silence and everything at XL Energy Center tonight. And like I said, losing not only a St. Paul native as well, but just a great guy. And like I said, you heard nothing but good things about him throughout the hockey community. So a big loss for sure.
No doubt. And like I said, we're in one of these phases now where unfortunately we've lost a couple members of the hockey community, but thoughts and prayers and condolences to the Shero family and all in the hockey community that were close to him. Last night, as far as NHL is concerned, a best bet winner for me, Buffalo team total, over 2.5 last night in that game, cashes in as the Buffalo Sabres, man, not only beating Carolina, but how about James Reimer getting the shutout against the Carolina Hurricanes, 3-0 last night. Great win for Buffalo. The team total over cashes. The money line cashes. What a great price that was at plus 200. So that was a pretty overall good game for me, profitable result. Detroit, Montreal, the big game of the night, which pretty much puts Detroit's playoff hopes to bed. A 4-1 win for Montreal. It was all Detroit in the first period. 22-5 were the shots on goal at one point. Montreal rallies back, ends up getting the 4-1 win there. And like I said, Montreal that much closer now to clinching the second wild card spot. Not to mention the news earlier in the day that Ivan Demidov has gotten out of his contract with SKA over in the KHL. And of course, now is going to make the move to North America, join the Montreal Canadiens. And rumblings now that not only the ELC deal signed just like that yesterday, a 3-year entry-level contract deal, but that the visa issues will be taken care of quickly enough that Montreal is expecting Ivan Demidov to arrive to the team Saturday in Toronto when they play the Leafs. He won't play in that game. They're actually targeting the Monday game against Chicago, which just happens to be Amazon Prime's final game of the season next Monday night. Blackhawks and Canadiens, and you might be talking about Ivan Demidov's Habs debut Monday night against Chicago Blackhawks. So big news from Montreal.
Yeah, now what ironic timing. It would line up where it's Bedard versus Demidov for the final Amazon game. I'm pretty sure they are salivating at that possibility for sure. But that's huge for Montreal if you can get this guy. And I don't know, will he be eligible for the playoffs? That's the thing I'm not sure about. But just to have him in the lineup and to have him in front of the home crowd, that's enough of an energy boost certainly for that team right now.
No doubt. Columbus 5-2 win against. Let's give Columbus credit. They had a horrible weekend. It's pretty much killed their playoff hopes, but they rose up, showed a little, pride as a team last night. Especially after Ottawa really kicked them the other night in Ottawa, and 5-2 Columbus gets the win. That being said, it's still a good night for the Ottawa Senators because in spite of the loss, they still clinch a playoff spot last night and end their 7-year playoff drought. So it's great to see the Ottawa Senators officially back in the playoffs. And of course, if the playoffs started today, it would be Battle of Ontario in the first round, Ottawa Senators and Toronto Maple Leafs. And boy, would it be great to see that series, another playoff series with those two teams once again. But congratulations to the Ottawa Senators. Really remarkable work, Alex. We should take a moment to give Ottawa their flowers here. It's been a great turnaround season. I wasn't sold on Travis Green, and neither was Alex, but let's give him a lot of credit from a coaching standpoint. Brady Tkachuk is a leader, second to none. I think his captaincy and leadership has gone a long way to getting Ottawa to this position. And I think we have to tip the cap, too, to the change up front in the front office. Steve Staios is turning into one hell of a GM, and I saw it up close and personal with the Hamilton Bulldogs, what he did with the junior team here. No question about that. And I think the new owner is a breath of fresh air after Eugene Melnyk. And I don't want to disparage, the dead, but Eugene Melnyk had his flaws, as a manager, as an owner, I should say. And Michael Andlauer, I think, has been nothing short of outstanding. The community work, building the interest in the team, letting, Staios do his job, hiring good hockey people. Andlauer has done that from the ownership standpoint. Ownership, by the way, and another thing why this is working, Andlauer was the Bulldogs owner in Hamilton here. And guess who his GM was? Staios. That's why he got Staios. So there's that connection that worked with the Hamilton Bulldogs, and we're seeing it working right now. The only question was, would it work at the NHL level? Well, clearly so far it is with Ottawa. Michael Andlauer, the owner, and his handpicked GM, Steve Staios, who he was with in Hamilton, and look at how it's working. Unbelievable renaissance here.
Yeah, absolutely. Winning starts from the top down. And when you're able to clear house and get fresh ownership in and make all those changes downward, like I said, it sets off that chain reaction.
Which there is.
Right. Yeah. And then the fan base has energy. Now we're watching winning hockey. Now they're going to get their, eventually get their arena downtown and closer to the city. All the positive things happen, but it starts with the winning hockey, and it starts with the winning culture in the front office. And it trickles down, and that's what Ottawa's done. So kudos to them to be in this spot right now.
I know people got all stirred up about the possibility of maybe Snoop Dogg owning a piece of the Ottawa Senators at one point. I remember back when the ownership was up for grabs. There was some real momentum behind that for a little bit. Yeah. But no, Michael Andlauer has proven to be one hell of a choice. And like I said, it's been great results in his first full year as the owner of the Ottawa Senators, and Steve Staios' first full year as the GM of the Ottawa Senators. Boston 7-2 over New Jersey. A bit surprising just because Boston's been bad, but New Jersey, terrible game from them. Product maybe of a team not much on the line, a 7-2 loss like that. Florida 3-1 against Toronto. Really good game from Florida. Of course, Barkov, Reinhart, and Forsling all returned to the lineup last night for the Florida Panthers, and they got the job done 3-1 in that game over the Toronto Maple Leafs. We saw again. We saw Nashville, a crazy game against the New York Islanders, 7-6, back and forth. It went so typical of the New York Islanders to lose a game like that when they have to get 2 points and keep their season alive. To lose like that, 7-6 in overtime, was pretty bad by the New York Islanders. And like I said, they needed 2 points against a woe-begotten team like the Nashville Predators. The fact they only got one and they lost in overtime, again, pretty much puts them out of the race. And then one of the absolute most stunning, unbelievable things I've ever seen in an NHL game, and that's saying a lot, because for the first time, history was made in Dallas last night. A team up 3 goals with 1 minute left loses the game. Never happened before until last night. Somehow, the Dallas Stars up 5-2, because when they made it 5-2 into the empty net, we said, it's over. It's finished, this game. 1 minute left in the third, 5-2 Dallas. Somehow, it's unbelievable the breakdowns to let this happen, but Atu Ratu and 2 Pius Suter goals in the final minute to turn a 5-2 lead for Dallas into a 5-5 tie. And then once that game went to overtime, it felt like all the momentum was with Vancouver. They were going to win it, and they did. 6-5, Kiefer Sherwood with the overtime win. Absolutely shocking. No other way around it. That Dallas, of all teams, would let something like that happen. And something we've never seen before, obviously. Absolutely stunning. One of the worst beats ever if you had Dallas puck line or money line, whatever the case may be. It was absolutely one of the worst beats you'll ever see. Just almost unspeakable what happened to the Dallas Stars last night in that collapse against the Vancouver Canucks. Now, again, a lot of Dallas Stars fans are upset. It's not been a good couple of weeks for them. Let's be honest. They have not played their A game the last couple of weeks. But at the end of the day, it's going to be everybody's wiping the slate clean, hitting the reset button when the Stanley Cup playoffs start. And if they go on a deep playoff run, nobody's going to remember the events of or care about the events of Tuesday, April the 8th last night. So that's what you have to factor in. That being said, it's a truly alarming result for the Dallas Stars as far as last night's concerned. But like I said, you're starting to see signs too of Miro Heiskanen's absence popping up. People are playing minutes, and the minutes are adding up. I think there's physical and mental wear and tear starting to add up on some of these Dallas players. Forwards aren't doing a good enough job too. There's so many forwards that stand around and expect the defense to do everything as far as clearing the zone. Forwards have to be way more diligent with their effort away from the puck. That's been a problem lately for the Dallas Stars as well. But just a unbelievable, incredible loss for them last night, 6-5. First time ever a team up 3 goals with a minute left in NHL history goes on to lose the game. That is shocking. Yeah. Utah pounds the piss out of Seattle, 7-1. Seattle now 0-12 on back-to-backs. Again, they're held under 3 goals on a back-to-back. Again, they lose by 2 goals or more on a back-to-back. So it's just been the gift that keeps on giving, fading the Seattle Kraken. That was a great game. We had Utah regulation, puck line, team total over, and the Kraken team total under. Swept them all in that game. So that was really good to see. Funny, the Dallas game, you'd think maybe that's not good for me being on Dallas, but I picked the right ways to bet Dallas. I had team total, and I had the team totals in the first period. They all cashed. So I won all the Dallas bets in that game, even though they lost 6-5. And then the last game of the night, Colorado didn't play as inspired as I thought. Vegas, we found out late in the game, Jack Eichel was a scratch. But Colorado found a way to get a 3-2 win over the Vegas Golden Knights in a shootout. We got a split with the pregame bets there. Colorado money line does cash, but the team total falls short. Alex, thoughts on what we saw Tuesday night?
Yeah, it was an interesting night, and I think we can kind of really look at the biggest result was certainly that Vancouver Dallas game, and like I said, that's just a tough way to watch a loss, no matter what time of year. Certainly when you're a fan, but like I said, you can't let that be the end all be all. And if you're the Dallas Stars, you have to try and forget about that game. And it's one of those things where, like I said, and then we talked about it in our chat. The general public might look at that spot, especially being that it's a week away, 10 days away from the playoffs, and then take that into consideration when looking at the first round matchup against Colorado or whoever they draw in the first. And I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't put that much stock into what we saw last night. Now, if we see something like that again, if we see another 2-goal blown lead from Dallas down the stretch here, that might be cause of concern. As Lando says in the chat, maybe that's a sign of their character where they've gotten to a point now where they can't hold on to a lead. They don't have that finish in them, something that they really didn't have an issue with in previous years of them being a top team in the West. But like I said, one game in the regular season. If you look back at all the teams that won Stanley Cups, I pointed to an example during the 2010 season with the Hawks. They had a terrible game where they blew a 5-1 lead, went to an 8-round shootout and lost 6-5. The game meant nothing at the end of the year when we were holding the Stanley Cup. You go back and look at every champion. They've had one, maybe even 2 or 3 really, really bad clunkers, games that are at the moment completely inexcusable to lose, but in the grand scheme of things mean absolutely nothing. So the players have to put that out of their heads. The fans have to put that out of their heads. And us as bettors, we can't be too emotional about that result either. But we also have to make that a note, at least to where if we start seeing this happening more often as we get into the playoffs, then it could become a sign of a problem.
No doubt. That's exactly it. So, like I said, if Dallas is in the conference finals or Stanley Cup final, Stars fans ain't going to give 2 shits about last night when we're in June and they're in the Stanley Cup final. That's all I'm saying. Let's see what they're like in the playoffs. Because there is some truth to the fact that maybe they're just the regular season. They're spent emotionally with the regular season. Let's get the playoffs here. Let's start this up. Let's get things going again, because there is some level of disinterest, I think, in Dallas's game that maybe you won't see in the playoffs. And certainly you're hoping that's the case if you're a Stars fan. All right, let's get into Wednesday's card. We will begin with the battle for first in the Atlantic, Toronto and Tampa Bay. This is a back-to-back for the Leafs. They were in Florida last night against the Panthers, where they lost 3-1. Tampa Bay minus 180, home favorites, 6 the total in this game. I like the draw. That's really the only main thing I like pregame here. I could see this being a draw candidate. I know we've seen certainly the games in Tampa. 2 of them have gone past to overtime, 2 of the last 4 between these 2 teams. Toronto off the 3-1 loss to Florida. They're on the back-to-back. Rest advantage for Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's been great at home, of course, all season, 27-8-2. Certainly I could see them winning this game. But Toronto has played – Tampa's had a tough time with Toronto this year. 3 games that they've lost to the Leafs, 5-2 in Toronto in October, 5-3 in Tampa in November, and then 5-3 in Toronto in January. All 3 games actually went over the total between these 2 teams. Does tonight's game follow suit? That's the question you've got to ask yourself. We saw kind of a low-scoring, tight-checking battle of a game last night between the Leafs and Panthers, with divisional implications. Late-season division games in this league, there have been some lower-scoring affairs, so we'll have to see how this one plays out. Tampa Bay, meanwhile, the first period over, I'm a little bit more interested in that than a full game over. Tampa Bay, of course, easily cashed the first period over against the New York Rangers in their last home game, in their last game on Monday at Madison Square Garden. And if you look at the recent homestand that the Tampa Bay Lightning had, the first period over cashed in all 3 of those recent home games. So I'm going to dabble in a little bit of the first period over, but that's it. In this game. And what happens if somehow the first period over doesn't hit and it ends up as one of those scoreless first periods? You know what we're going to do, and that's we're going to hit that second period over, which, by the way, I'll remind everybody, 24-7 for the second period over. This is the run after a scoreless first period. And again, it cashed last night with the Carolina Buffalo game. So it's been great. I'm going to just small bet only on the first period over here and the draw pregame. Anything else I do in this game will be live. Alex, what do you think here? Leafs, Lightning.
Yeah, I have this draw already in pocket, plus 345, but I'm seeing a plus 350 at FanDuel, so do shop around and get the best of that number. But I also like that first period over. I'm going to just target that live. At -120, -115, I'm gonna wait a couple minutes, try and grab that at plus money, but I could see goals here early and often. This is one I feel like it could be a back and forth battle. I don't want the full game over because maybe we see a couple of goals early and then we see this pace kind of start to slow down. But I see it being enough back and forth to where the draw is live, certainly in a game where both teams battling for that division spot.
Yeah.
Both teams will certainly want the 1 point if they can grab it and then get the second one in overtime or a shootout.
Especially Toronto is the team that's 2 points ahead right now of Tampa Bay for first. I mean, Toronto would love to get something out of this game, even if they lose in overtime or a shootout, but they end up getting, a point. That would be huge, obviously, to their chances of clinching the Atlantic Division. Right now, they are 2 up on Tampa Bay. Both of these teams have even amount of games left. They'll both have 4 games left after tonight. It is significant to note, though. What's funny is that they're also tied in regulation wins. But then the next tiebreaker after that is regulation and overtime wins.
Right.
And that's where Toronto has the edge. They have 46 of those compared to Tampa Bay with 43. So Toronto, as of right now, if the season ended with these teams tied, Toronto wins the tiebreaker. So we'll see how it plays out. As far as props go, if I'm not mistaken, Matthew Nyes has done Hungry Nyes, 1 goal from you. And yeah, Matthew Nyes has been actually scored and done a good job scoring against Tampa Bay in the past. So maybe goal props involving Matthew Nyes tonight potentially could be worth a look here in this game. Obviously, Anthony Stolarz will start here because of the fact that we saw Joe Woll last night in the first game against Florida, so it will be Stolarz and, of course, Andrei Vasilevsky in net for Tampa Bay, who are fully healthy, by the way. Worth a look. Yes, we have to take we absolutely have to take the Toronto Maple Leafs killer for a goal prop tonight on Tampa Bay, and that's Nick Paul. How many times does Nick Paul score a goal against the Toronto Maple Leafs? It's absolutely insane. So absolutely love the Nick Paul goal prop tonight. All right, Philadelphia taking on the New York Rangers. 2 teams playing for exercise. One reason and one reason only to watch this game. The great trip down memory lane that we're going to get tonight with Sam Rosen and John Davidson, the longtime New York Rangers TV broadcast team on MSG, reunited, and it feels so good. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be great to have Sam and JD one last time together in the booth. And shout out to Turner Sports TNT for making this happen. Absolutely going to be great. I'm looking forward to the broadcast. I don't know if I'm looking forward to the game, but I'm looking forward to the broadcast here with Sam and JD together. The New York Rangers -180 home favorites, rather. 5.5 the total in this game. I'm taking Philly just out of principle. New York Rangers at this price against anybody right now, it's almost unfathomable how anyone can back them at this price, laying -180. So I'm taking Philly. Philly's playing hard. Philly still has just the 1 defeat since John Tortorella was removed as head coach and Brad Shaw became the interim. Since that time, they've gone 3-1. They beat Montreal at home, Buffalo at home, Nashville at home, and the one loss was against a red-hot Montreal team trying to make the playoffs, and they had a lead in that game, and Montreal had to come back and win it. So I got no issues at all taking a shot with the Philadelphia Flyers at this price against this downtrodden, woe-begotten New York Rangers team, which has just scored 1 goal, by the way, in their last 2 games. That being said, this Philadelphia team defensively can still be a little bit leaky at times, and we have seen 6-1 and 6-5 be the scores in 2 of the last 3 games. So I'm going to go with an over by Fecta in this game as well. I'm not sure it's going to be a big-time defensive game here. 2 teams out of the playoffs. Well, not official yet for the Rangers, but let's be real, they're not making the playoffs. So I call them a non-playoff team right now at this point. So I like the first period full game over. I like the Flyers +160, and I'm going to go with the Flyers team total over in this game as well, because I like to split it up with the money line here in this one. I think there's a chance they get to their team total as well. It's worth noting Jonathan Quick. Maybe that's a sign, too, that the Rangers know it's all over but the crying as far as their playoff hopes are concerned. No Igor tonight. Jonathan Quick will get the start in net here for the New York Rangers tonight. And again, that team total is dirt cheap for Philly. Over 2.5, -104 at Pinnacle. is the best price you can find with that Flyers team total, but still a really good price. Take away the last two games, but Buffalo, Montreal, they've been pushing pace more offensively. Like I said, the Rangers have been very giving as far as goals allowed. They've given up 4+ goals in 4 of their last 5 games, the New York Rangers. So that's what we're going to look at here. Flyers money line split with Flyers team total over 2.5 and an over by Fecta. Alex, Flyers, Rangers.
I certainly trust team total over 2.5 way more than Flyers money line. Even though, like I said, Flyers have been playing much better and more inspired without Tortorella in the mix. But I like this. The first period full game overs in game. This is one, especially with the TNT broadcast, certainly we'll be watching and enjoying hearing Sam Rosen and then John Davidson again. This is one where I could see maybe start off a bit slow. And I don't know, are they having another ceremony because of that, or is this just going to be kind of regular affairs?
I don't think there's any ceremony. I think it's just
okay.
Giving people on
just for the broadcast,
a Sam and JD broadcast. Yeah.
Okay, because I know there's been up and down where they had one day where they did honor him pre-game, then they had another thing where they were honoring him on the road. So I know it's been a lot of different stuff. So, but I still think this is going to be a game that starts off at least slow in the initial couple minutes to where we have time to grab plus money on both full game and first period overs.
All right, good stuff. And as far as props go for this game, this could be a good prop game because I do think we'll see some goals scored between these two teams. Kind of a loose atmosphere at the defensive end is, I think, the chance we see that here. Philadelphia has, like I said, if you've been watching Philadelphia with Brad Shaw behind the bench, they've played with a little more pace in their game. And certainly, that's a good find by Jonathan there with Noah Cates. Noah Cates has had his share of success against Jonathan Quick in particular. That's another thing, too, about Quick. Quick has only played one game since March, the beginning of March 29 against San Jose. Now, he did get the win. They won 6-1. But before that, he was kind of up and down. He got shelled for 7 his one start before that against Columbus as well. So, like I said, and again, with the Flyers, I think they can get to 3 goals. And Rangers, as Jonathan points out, 3+ goals allowed 8 of their last 10 games and also 4 of their last 5 games. So it doesn't seem like we're asking for too much here for the Flyers to score 3 tonight.
True. Rich H poses a very interesting question in the chat. Do the Rangers actually care about what's all going on with the final days of Sam Rosen? Now, in the grand scheme of, yes, okay, obviously it's the longtime voice of the team, and I'm sure he's gotten to know players over the years. There's personal connection. But I'm saying, as far as it's you look at that with these younger kind of guys, these European guys, they didn't grow up listening to Sam Rosen, for the last 20 years
and
of their
it's not
lives.
Like that Sam Rosen's final season inspired them to make the playoffs now, did it?
Right, that's what I'm saying. So is there any fire there where we might be talking about like, for example, Buffalo or Rick Jeanneret, like he's pretty much the only voice they had, or a Pat Foley where he's been a long time voice and he's been integrated with the team for a while, and Rose is the same way. But I'm wondering, as those happen over time, whereas if we had retirements and things in the 80s and 90s, are these younger, newer generation players connected more to the voices and things, other than the fact that they were just the play-by-play guy on the team they played for? It's an interesting question.
An interesting debate, that's for sure, or discussion regarding that. There's no doubts. It's as far as that goes. I think you can make a decent argument. As far as goal prop here for this game, Konechny, Cates worth a look. I like Mishkov props. Mishkov's been a different beast. Obviously, since the coaching change. And don't sleep on this guy. He's actually scored in 3 straight games for the Philadelphia Flyers. Ryan Poehling, if you can believe it. Ryan Poehling has scored in 3 straight games for the Philadelphia Flyers. And you can get him north of plus 500 as far as a goal prop. So, again, that's definitely something I'm looking at tonight in this one as well. San Jose and Minnesota. We've got Minnesota minus 330. Home favorites, the total 340 in some spots, 5.5 the total here in this game. Sharks and Wild. Marc-Andre Fleury's final home start of the season for the Minnesota Wild at XL Energy Center. He will make one more start on the road, apparently against Vancouver, and so keep an eye on that. But like I said, definitely something to keep an eye on. With that, whether when that final start of his career, because as we know, Marc-Andre Fleury retiring after the season is. This should be a spot for Minnesota to take care of business. The big news is that Kirill Kaprizov, Joel Eriksson Ek, the 2 guys they've missed dearly, are back, which should help them. But we also see sometimes it can throw off a little rhythm, and it takes a game or two to get their feet under them and to be integrated back into the lineup. It's not like automatically first game back, the team takes flight. And we see this in the NBA, especially when a big player comes back into the lineup. It's actually not always an easy first game. There's just not much value with Minnesota. I took San Jose team total under. That's what I feel best about. I think Minnesota's got the chance to shut down this Sharks team. San Jose's not scoring against good teams and good defensive teams, motivated defensive teams. We saw Calgary shut them down, only give up 2 goals. They only scored 1 against Seattle. They only scored 2 against somewhat disinterested, shorthanded Edmonton team. 1 goal only against LA. 1 goal only at home against the New York Rangers. This is a price that I don't always like laying, and I'll be honest, it's not a bargain by any stretch of the imagination here, this Sharks team total under that I bet. It's upwards of minus 168, but I did lay that price. I think I don't expect San Jose to hit the 3-goal mark here tonight in this game, and I feel a little bit better about taking that than the puck line with Minnesota, because I could see Minnesota winning 2-1, honestly, in this game, where they just, like Calgary, even Calgary the other night against San Jose, it was a 3-2 final score. I don't trust Minnesota to win by 2 goals for some reason. I know the Wild puck line should hit. They should be capable on home ice against this Sharks team to get a 2-goal margin, but I'm not convinced of it, just with their style of play. And it often lends itself to 1-goal games. So I could see 2-1, 3-2 Minnesota final score. That's why I like the team total under 2.5 for San Jose, because I think either way you're going to cash, and I don't see San Jose, regardless of what Minnesota does offensively, I do not see San Jose scoring 3 goals, especially with a team that's going to want to play hard defensively in front of Marc-Andre Fleury in his final home start at XL Energy Center. So that's the only bet I have pregame here. Sharks team total under 2.5. Laid some juice, but juice worth laying, in my opinion. Alex, what do you think here? Sharks, Wild.
I took a tiny shot with Wild team total over 3.5. I actually laid minus 134 at FanDuel, and I played that small, and that's probably the only thing I'm going to get to the window with as far as pregame bets goes. Now, I'll talk a little bit later on, probably whenever the Wild get eliminated from the playoffs, about how Bill Guerin completely bungled this whole situation. But yes, they do have Kaprizov and Joe Arisenek back in the lineup, and that's huge. That's massive. But as we always talk about, like I said, getting guys that back in the top line, especially you talk about now 2/3 of your top line back in, that's a significant portion. You're disrupting a little bit of the chemistry, even if it's for 1 game, even if it's just maybe for a period or a few shifts. But things could be a little bit discombobulated. We're probably talking about a little bit of a later start now with the unfortunate passing of Ray Shero. Maybe the nerves, maybe the momentums. This is a San Jose team, like I said, they haven't been scoring goals, but they've also been playing kind of free and loose. They don't really have anything to lose. We saw them give Calgary all the hell they could give them in a game that meant the world to the Flames. Maybe they get geared up and, like I said, kind of take that momentum over and say, hey, we could play a little bit of spoiler here on the road. And maybe they jump out and do something. So this is a game where I have that team total 3.5 over for the Wild small, because by right the Wild should put the boots to the Sharks and win this thing 5-1, 6-1, especially with it being Fleury's last home start, especially knowing the fact that you got the Flames on your heels. You can take care of business, solidify things, and control your own destiny with getting a regulation win here. But it's also the Minnesota Wild, and we've seen them choke in big time spots. Wouldn't shock me one bit if we see them.
Would you be shocked if it's 1-1 in the 3rd period tonight?
Nope. Wouldn't shock me one bit. Wouldn't shock me if they lost this game 3-1 in regulation either. Yeah. So I'm taking that shot based on what they should do with that team total over. But who knows what happens here. So for the most of it will be a pass, and I'll watch it and maybe jump on anything live.
Like, even if Minnesota's down a goal early in the game, I don't even know if you're going to get a good enough price on Minnesota at that. They'll still be a big favorite, even if they're down by a goal. It's going to take them being down 2 or 3 goals to get even a reasonable live price on Minnesota in this game. Yeah. So, like I said, it's just there's very little value. Yeah, the draw. Yeah, I don't fault Robert for taking a shot with the draw. I don't. Every point that
big price with it.
Yeah. So. And they may not take their chances late in the game if it's tied. Because every single point is valuable. It's not like Minnesota needs a shit ton or boatload of points down the stretch to finally eliminate Calgary
Right.
and put themselves in the wild card spot. So every point is like worth its weight in gold right now for the Minnesota Wild. So that is something to keep in mind. But to me, I just thought if you're going to attack this game, to me, the best bet on the board, in my opinion, pregame was that Sharks team total under 2.5. That I like because I do expect them to bust their tail defensively tonight for Fleury in his final home start. What they do offensively, we'll see. As far as props in this game tonight with the Sharks and the Wild, again, this is always dicey because you're not sure how many goals there are going to be. By the way, for the San Jose Sharks, as far as their goaltending tonight, we obviously saw Georgi Romanov, who didn't really face a shit ton of rubber against Calgary, so I don't want to give him too much credit. Georgiev is going to get the start here tonight for them. Tyler Toffoli, game-time decision for the San Jose Sharks. Everybody else that's been missing is still out. Ruda, Makmadulin, and Desharnais are still out for the San Jose Sharks. But as far as props go in this game, I'd take a shot with Will Smith. Back-to-back games with a goal for the San Jose Sharks, +3 in that +300 range. I think that might be worth a look, in my opinion, here going into this one. Matt Zuccarello and Macklin Celebrini are on 3-game point streaks. Like I said, Will Smith back-to-back games with a point and a goal. We'll see if that continues here. Ryan Hartman scored last game, and we know he can be streaky, so maybe at +400 or so, he's worth a shot. So those are a couple of the props there that I'm at least debating taking there in that Sharks and Wild game. All right, next up, we've got the Calgary Flames and the Anaheim Ducks. Calgary -150, road favorites at Honda Center in Anaheim. The total here sitting at 6.5, pretty much across the board in this game. From what I understand, the Rogers Sportsnet Flames broadcast crew will be back in action tonight and will be on the air for this game. So I'm sure they're going to do a lot of stuff regarding Greg Millen on the broadcast tonight. It'll be John Abbott's first time calling a game. And what I have to remember about John Abbott, too, is not only was this his first season working with Greg Millen with Calgary games, but they actually worked together in the Leaf organization when John Abbott was just the Marlies AHL broadcaster, and they'd actually set up Leafs television network hits with him and Greg, because Greg Millen was with Leafs TV at the time. So it's got to be a painful time and tough 48 hours for John Abbott, as he will be back on the mic on the television side for Calgary tonight in this game. So I'm sure they're going to do something really nice for Millen with that. As far as Calgary goes, it's, got to find a way to get 2 points here. You have to. You have to get 2 points, and you have to, regardless of what happens with Minnesota tonight, your job is to get the win, period. Get the 2 points and make that Friday night home game at the Saddle Dome against Minnesota a game that, hey, it's still significant. It still means something. So that's the goal here for the Calgary Flames tonight. Don't love the idea of laying -150 pregame with them. Obviously not fading them. Anaheim's played tough. Anaheim's actually played with some good inspired effort, this young group down the stretch. They beat Edmonton 3-2. Now, Edmonton was shorthanded, and we'll get to Edmonton in a moment. You talk about a shorthanded team. Just you wait until we talk about Edmonton in just a moment. But, Anaheim is playing tough. Anaheim is playing with some good effort. Defensively, it hasn't always been great, like when they got shelled by Vancouver 6-2. Calgary beat them pretty good just 6 days ago in Calgary 4-1. So we'll see if Calgary can maintain their recent dominance against Anaheim, and it has been dominance. 7-1 in the last 8 meetings for the Calgary Flames over the Anaheim Ducks. Like I said, we'll see if they can keep the good times rolling here tonight. Dustin Wolf, no surprise. Hungry like the wolf. Dustin Wolf getting the start again for the Flames. How about this starter for Anaheim? We haven't seen him in a while. Ville Husso getting the nod and the assignment here for the Anaheim Ducks. We have not seen him start since March the 16th. Actually, he was a relief appearance there, that was. His last start was at Utah, where he gave up 3 goals on 39 shots. Before that was San Jose, January 14. He gave up 5 goals. Not a goalie I trust. He's been slightly better, I guess, some of these last couple starts, but you're still talking about a goaltender that will make only his first NHL start since the middle of March, with John Gibson obviously still dealing with the lower body injury, and they want to give Lukas Dostal the rest tonight. But Husso still for the season, 1-6-2. That's 1-8 as a starting goaltender this year. 3.72 goals against average, .874 save percentage. Now, Jonathan sent along a very interesting nugget, and I know Alex knows the goalies' histories versus certain teams. Husso has actually owned the Flames. 3-0 with, believe it or not, a sub-2 goals against average. Like, he's actually played Calgary very, very well, and he's undefeated against them. I don't put a shit ton of stock into that, quite honestly, because this is a different version of Husso. He's not had a very good year. So we'll see how this goes. This is going to be an in-game situation for me. I mean, if Calgary falls behind, here's the thing with Calgary. There have been games where they've fallen behind, especially on the road. Especially on the road, Calgary's had a recent history of falling behind early. Even on the road trip, you remember the Rangers game, and they had to come back. And, the Devils game, they had to come back. And there's many games recently on the road where the Flames have actually started slow, and then they've come back to win the game. And we saw that even with San Jose on Monday night, where they started slow. They were down 1-0, and they had to come back and win that game. So even more reason for me not to bet Calgary pregame tonight. We might be able to get plus price with the Flames if they fall behind here tonight. So, and at team total, I lean, but, they won 3-2 against San Jose the other night with Georgi Romanov in net. I'm going to look to see if I can get a better number on that. So right now, there's more of a live look. What I can only give you right now is live targets. Live Calgary money line if they fall behind. Live team total over if I can get 3.5, or certainly if I can get 2.5, I will jump in on a Flames team total. Jonathan pointing out the unders. The full game under might be worth a look here, 6.5, even with Husso in net, because the Flames are 19-4 to the under in division games this year. And we saw San Jose Calgary the other night be an under in that 3-2 Flames win. So the full game under, I don't hate it. But this is definitely going to be a live bet game for me. Alex, what do you think here? Flames, Ducks.
Yeah, this is one where I grabbed a little bit of Flames minus $1.05 in regulation. I will be, of course, like you said, looking for Flames full game money line. If they fall behind, we grab that plus price live. But I'm also going to go with that parlay spot at MGM. I'm going to go with Flames and under 6.5 plus 210. You can get that price at BetMGM. So under 6.5 tab with the Flames to win, plus 210. Regulation minus 105, and if Flames should give up that first goal, we'll grab them full game money line as well. I think this is a big spot for the Flames. Husso's a goalie I do not trust at all. That 3-0 record, I was looking back, those were when he was playing with St. Louis early on in his career, and St. Louis, gave Calgary fits. So I don't trust those numbers. Husso's borderline bum at this point, and going up against Wolf and this Flames team and what this means. And someone in the chat said they might be looking to Friday. They can't afford to look to Friday.
No,
this
you got to
their
take
playoff
care of
game
business
now.
tonight to make
you win
Friday
now,
meaningful.
then you get to Friday, right?
Yeah.
So this is the playoffs for Calgary. Give me them, to win this game.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all for that. Like I said, I'm going to see if I can get a plus price if they fall behind. That being said, I am going to take a little Anaheim team total. I lied. I'm going to take something pregame. Anaheim team total under. Anaheim team total under 2.5, because I think Flames and Dustin Wolf, can keep this Ducks team under wraps. Plus another thing to mention, Anaheim has scored 2-1-1 in the 3 head-to-head meetings versus Calgary this year. And all of those games came in January and beyond. January 7th, it was a 3-2 overtime win for Calgary here in Anaheim. 4-1 Calgary win at home against Anaheim, January 30th. April the 3rd, 4-1 win for Calgary there in that game. Ducks are fast, Robert, but that didn't matter when Calgary held them to 2 goals or less in all 3 meetings this year. Now, did it? So from that standpoint, I get what you're saying. They are, but Calgary's been able to hold them down. 2 goals or less for Anaheim in all 3 head-to-head games versus Calgary this year. So I am going to take that Anaheim team total under. 2.5, it's plus money. It's actually plus 125 at some spots. So decent price for Ducks team total under 2.5. What do you think here? Perlo. Should introduce Perlo. He is here with us. He did say he'd be joining us in progress. He's here with us now. Perlo, welcome in. We'll go back to the other games after. We'll start you here, though, with this one, Calgary and Anaheim. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a tough one when you look at how they played that San Jose game. Calgary's a team that likes to turn things into a war even when they don't need to. But here, I think they're really gonna want to do that against Anaheim. They're gonna want to intimidate early. they want to let them know that we're in this for a fight. And it's a good point that Anaheim is a very fast team. And as you can tell, they struggled early a little bit with San Jose in that game as well. But what I do like here, I do like the total under for one thing. But I like more than anything the first period under. You can get that at plus 110. I don't think we had those bets against San Jose, score in the first 10, score, and it's obvious that Calgary is not a team that, and it shows that
they were very
They're
tentative in that first period. They weren't pushing as hard as we thought they might.
Yeah, and with Anaheim's speed, I think they're going to be like that again. That's the one thing they are concerned about is Anaheim's speed.
Yep.
So they're probably going to feel out Anaheim, look for weaknesses, even though they probably have the coaches told them that beforehand, but they're not going to want to let this get away early. That's for sure. So I think they're going to play a tight game with Anaheim early, and I like that under 1.5 at plus 110. I like the full game under as well, and I'm with you on the team total under for the Anaheim Ducks. This is a great live betting game too.
It is,
If Anaheim does happen to pot one, I'm definitely going to be betting Calgary just like I did with San Jose. And because they just come back in thirds against the Islanders, they always seem to come back in third periods when they're down. Once they get a really good read on what the opposition is doing, they got a great coach there who's great at X's and O's. And they can usually expose the weaknesses. Also, live bet the Flames team total over as well. Wait for a while. This is a great game for that. If I like the under, you can probably get like 1.5 or 2.5 or whatever at a decent price. Since the total is 6.5, you can get it at a really good price to take Calgary live. So I put my live bets up on my Twitter there. Go check it out. And I'll send them out to everybody for.
There you go, Jonathan, supporting you with the stats there for that first period under. There you go, 7-1 run. Yep.
Yeah, I love that. I love the first period under.
I was just looking at correct score Flames 3-2 is 12-1. 60-minute correct score Flames 3-2 20 plus 2,300. So I might dabble in both those. I don't know. I have a gut feeling that just feels like that could be final score 3-2 Calgary.
You know what the score was in Anaheim back in January? 3-2 Flames in overtime. So even Robert's draw is not out of this realm of possibility.
Another thing I would look at is correct score 0-0 and draw first period as well in this one. You can get good prices on both of those.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I said, interesting to see how this goes because, like I said, the fact that you didn't blow out San Jose and put the boots to them and you actually were trailing and had to come from behind, it makes me think this is going to be a grind of a win for Calgary tonight. If they get the win, it'll be like a 3-2 type of deal again. Because Anaheim's not folding the tent. They've actually, they played some solid competitive hockey down this, playing hard here in the home stretch, no doubt. I like Matt Coronado goal prop. That's the main prop I like. Not too many props here for me in this game, but Matt Coronado is one. Back-to-back games with a goal for him. Kadri's on a 3-game point streak. Zegras and McTavish, 2-game point streaks for the Anaheim Ducks. So maybe you could consider looking in their direction here as well in this game tonight. All right, the final game, which is of course, TNT has Flyers Rangers, the Sam and JD broadcast. And I think they envisioned at one point this to be a great game. The second game of their TNT doubleheader, St. Louis and Edmonton. But Edmonton is sitting everybody. This is going to be the B squad tonight, essentially, for the Edmonton Oilers. This opened Edmonton minus 145, home favorites. It is all the way down to minus 115 now with Edmonton as home favorites. So a 30-cent move toward the Blues. Edmonton minus 115, 5.5 the total. I mean, I think all of us most of us jumped on St. Louis when we heard the news a few hours ago that we already knew Draisaitl and McDavid were out again. Skinner still out. Ekholm still out. But then you throw Ryan Nugent-Hopkins into the mix, who's another one of their top 6 forwards. He's not playing tonight, and you just figured eventually that money's going to pour in on St. Louis, and it did. As soon as that news came out, plus 125, plus 120 was gone, and it was down to even money pretty much right away here in this game. So, yeah, I mean, the Blues are probably the right side here. Edmonton has made their intentions known. They're just trying to get this regular season the hell over with, be damned where they finish, just get it done, keep everyone healthy. No Draisaitl, no McDavid, no Ekholm, no Trent Frederick either. He's out. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Obviously you've still got Zach Hyman and Arvidsson and Jeff Skinner and some other players you got to deal with. Bouchard's still playing, one of their better defensemen, but still, I mean, that is still a very depleted, shorthanded Edmonton team taking the ice right now with very little motivation from all indications right now. Based on where they're at. And meanwhile, St. Louis coming off their first loss in quite some time, of course, against the Winnipeg Jets. And normally, you guys know this over the years watching this show, I don't like backing a team after seeing a very, very long win streak get snapped. I don't like it because sometimes they kind of go in the other direction. But this is just too good of a price to pass up. St. Louis still needs to get wins and get this playoff spot clinched. They're going to clinch it. It's just a question of when, not if. But you still got to, show up and get this done sooner rather than later. And obviously they face a depleted Edmonton team to get the job done. So yeah, Blues money line for me in this game. Team total small bit I took as well, but primarily on the money line with St. Louis here in this one. Alex, Blues Oilers.
Yeah, I mean, I went and grabbed that, plus 120 when it was still hanging around when they announced that Nugent Hopkins was out and everybody else is going to be out. At this point now, minus $1.05, minus $1.10, you could still grab it. I'd maybe wait in game and hope that maybe the Oilers can try and get a goal early and you come back and grab a plus.
And Edmonton did score first against Anaheim the other night. I know St. Louis is a lot better than Anaheim, but still, It shows that maybe you can get Edmonton getting that first goal and get a better price for St. Louis here.
And being a late start, I wouldn't knock anyone for waiting and grabbing something live. But if not, yes, laying $1.05 is perfectly fine. Just make sure you shop and get the best of the number available to you. But like I said, with that many players out for Edmonton, and like I said, I wasn't going to run and play St. Louis if everybody was healthy for Edmonton in the spot. Like I said, because of off of that long winning streak, wouldn't be natural for them to kind of lose a couple of games. But I think here it's just simply a better team and a healthier team at a cheap enough price.
There's not a ton of play-by-play, television play-by-play voices or radio for that matter off the top of my head in the NHL that have Twitter that keep everyone really apprised of the lineup and the injuries on a regular basis. Jack Michaels does that for Edmonton,
yes,
so shout out to him. He's a good follow. He's always keeping you up to date on what's going on with the team on a day-to-day basis, injuries, suspensions, that kind of thing, lineup changes, that kind of thing. So Jack Michaels doing a good job off the microphone as well, keeping everyone up to date. Perlo, what do you think here in this one, St. Louis, Edmonton?
Yeah, I, like you, would normally be all over Edmonton here. That's a long winning streak, and then you lose, and then you come back into this one. I think this is still a letdown spot for St. Louis. And I think Edmonton, you got guys that are playing up on that top line. They're going to be playing with a lot of pride. The only thing is, they're probably not going to be able to score. I like the under here.
It is Binnington, by the way, for St. Louis. And he's been one of those goalies lately, hard to score on. Yep.
Yeah, very hard to score on. And they don't, like, Janmark is your second line center. I'm definitely switching over to St. Louis here. But I really like, you can get plus 115 still at Edmonton, team total under 2.5. And I mean, that's good price too. So I'm going to put a little bit on the team total under for Edmonton, probably a little more on St. Louis. And I think St. Louis is coming in a little bit fat. I think this is going to be, this is going to be a very low event first period. Edmonton's probably going to be hard on the stick. St. Louis is also going to probably have a little bit time scoring. So I like the under. I got an under bifecta here, but I got it at
bifecta. I like it. Under bifecta.
Under bifecta. I got an under bifecta. Under first period, I got it at a 6. It's a 5.5 now. You get it at plus 100. Not really as much of a favorite on that, but I got it as a 6 before all this went down. So, but under first period and team total under for Edmonton, St. Louis money line, and under full game.
All right, there you go. As far as props go for this game, even though I like St. Louis in the game, as you know, I still think, if you're going to look at Henrique Arvidsson and Podkolzin, looks like it's their top line tonight. How about that? And I like those guys, but they're not all top line players together. They aren't. And obviously, it's just by necessity that they're in that spot. Henrique Arvidsson, Podkolzin, Hyman, Janmark, Perry on the second line. Skinner, Philp, and Connor Brown, the third line. They're down to 11 forwards tonight, which is another thing Jack Michaels pointed out. 11 forwards only available for the Edmonton Oilers tonight. So someone's going to be double shifting. Do you dare bet Kasperi Kapanen in the former team angle to score a goal? Because he's with Edmonton, formerly of St. Louis. Does maybe he score a goal tonight? We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I like Buchnevich. He's on a goal streak right now for St. Louis. Won't you be my neighbor? Going back to the well with Jake Neighbors as well, even though he didn't score the other night for St. Louis. Jimmy Snuggerud. I get the feeling maybe tonight could be the night. Maybe that he gets that first NHL goal. And Bolduc. We'll take a shot with Zach Bolduc as well for the Blues. So those are some of the goal props I'm interested in. What a shame that our guy Dylan Holloway, is injured week to week. And it's sounding like he's going to miss some playoff time as well, which is just so unfortunate for the St. Louis Blues with the season he's had. Numbers are, 26 goals, 37 assists, 63 points in 77 games for him. With the St. Louis Blues. So unfortunately, we'd be all over Dylan Holloway props tonight back in Edmonton against his old team. But we still can take a shot with Philip Broberg, the defenseman, who was also signed to that offer sheet by the St. Louis Blues in the offseason, former Oiler going back here. And I'm going to sprinkle on the goal and the assist prop for him tonight. 14-1 for the goal prop, plus 310 for the assist prop. Worth a shot, definitely, for Phil Broberg. On that blue line here for the St. Louis Blues, playing on that second pair with Justin Falk, as he's been lately. Of course, Fowler and Leddy, the top pair for the Blues. So, yeah, Philip Broberg, goal and assist. Take a little small shot. 14-1 for him to score a goal. But I definitely like the assist prop a little bit more, which is still a really good price at plus 310. Batano, Jonathan, the Ontario book. So no assist.
Yeah, 11-1 in the States. Yeah, FanDuel MGM. I'm seeing the best price, 11 plus 1100.
Yeah, actually, that's the one and only book that I see right now that has a assist prop posted for Philip Broberg tonight. Is Batano, the Ontario book, plus 310. I don't even see Bet365 have a Broberg assist tonight. So there you go.
Wow.
There you go. Jonathan Davis hates you. Sorry about that. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news with that. Yeah. Only one book, and it's Patano with the Broberg assist. All right. Shout out to everyone in the chat. We'd like to say everyone with the assist who is a Patreon member, because they're assisting us here on the show, supporting us and keeping us going long term. We appreciate you guys. And a reminder, our next live betcast. My gosh, we just had one last night. You don't have to wait long. We're back at it tomorrow night, Thursday, April the 10th. Tomorrow night, it's another Patreon exclusive live betcast, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you join us. And again, the only way to join us for that betcast, sign up just $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys. You'll get access, of course, to our goalie charts, totals charts, daily betting cards, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. So make sure you check that out. Bonus content, and of course, access to tuning in and joining us for all our Patreon exclusive live betcasts, including the one coming up on Thursday night. So make sure you sign up. Your subscription goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping us going long term. $10 per month. Check it out and sign up if you haven't already at patreon.com/iceguys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Today is the last day we can get saved 10% or 3 or more items on your order. Go to the website, hit the redeem button at the homepage, add 3 or more items to your cart, and you'll have 10% available to you at checkout. So we've got everything in stock right now, a bunch of new designs. It's a perfect time to get something for the spring and summer. Don't delay on this deal. This ends at midnight tonight Eastern, and then we will have another deal coming tomorrow as well. So, like I said, this deal's all April long at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
There you go. Check it out. But we got deals galore all month. Check it out at the Ice Guys store. And actually, my shipment of gear from the Ice Guys store is arriving later today. So there you go. That's going to be nice. So we're going to be starting to put on some of that new apparel on the show in the next few days and few weeks for sure. Looking forward to that. Good stuff. Great gear, great merch. Check it out at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guy sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
Hey, Ian, I got to tell you about this app I've been using lately called Kalshi. Kalshi.com. Did you know it's the only place where you can trade on March Madness in all 50 U.S. states?
I have heard about this, actually. Kalshi is the first and only legal prediction market that lets you trade on real-world events with the look and feel of stock trading, whether it's who will win elections, who will win the Grammy or Oscar awards, or what the price of Bitcoin will hit this year. You can bet you trade on just about anything on Kalshi.
With over 1 million users across all 50 states and over $1 billion worth of trades, Kalshi is an absolute game changer. And with March Madness coming to a close, baseball about to get in the full swing, playoffs on the horizon in hockey and basketball, now's the time to sign up to trade with Kalshi today.
Sign up at kalshi.com/iceguys, and the first 500 traders to join and trade 100 contracts, you will get a free $10 credit added to your account. So don't miss out on all the action. Join Kalshi today at kalshi.com/iceguys. That's kalshi.com/iceguys. Shout out to all our great sponsors, including Boston Hemp Inc., 20% off using the promo code ICEGUYS at bostonhempinc.com, and Kalshi, great trading platform, and more than just sports, politics, crypto, entertainment, you name it, can trade on anything there, kalshi.com/iceguys. Before we get to bargain bin special and best bets, I just realized Perlo joined late, so we're going to go quickly rapid fire through the first 3 games of the card. Toronto, Tampa Bay. Perlo, what do you like?
I like the under at -110. I like the Lightning puck line first period at +130. I got a little bit of the draw at +330. Draw first period at +165. And exact score, Lightning 1-0.
First period score.
First
right?
period, yeah. First
there
period,
you go,
yeah.
exactly. I was going to say 1-0 final score. I don't know if there'll be that few goals in the game. So, yeah.
You guys probably got the over on that?
First period over, I like.
First period over. Okay.
And I like draw more than anything.
But I'm on the draw. Draw on the first period over.
I like the draw. Yeah, it's a weird spot for either side. So I like the draw.
Philly Rangers, what do you like there?
That's a tough game. I'm gonna go. I like over 5.5. I just can't trust either one of those defenses.
I'm on over.
The only thing is I don't. It's Philly. It's Philly going to score. They get their opportunities. They're going to get.
They will. If the Rangers are as giving defensively as they've been lately, they should.
Yeah, they should. The only thing about Philly is it's not that they don't get their opportunities, and it's certainly not that the Rangers aren't going to give them their opportunities, because they are. It's whether they're going to actually execute when they get their opportunities.
Sure.
So with that in mind, I also have the Flyers team total over 2.5. I like that quite a bit at -120. And I have a little bit on the over first period as well. Now I had this weird thing that saying that Rangers fired.
Yeah, it's a false report.
It's not true. So
fake
I liked it more when I thought that was the case, but now that it's not the case, I'm not really as big a fan of that as anything. But probably my favorite is the Flyers team total.
He will be fired, but it'll be at the end of the season. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't make sense that they were going to fire him now. And I put a little bit on the draw on this one too, just simply because whoever's up in the third is probably going to allow the other team to come back. And I could see this being a pretty.
I didn't bet the draw here, but I still might. But
I didn't. But because I like the totals live, I might grab a little piece of it live.
Yeah. All right. San Jose, Minnesota. That's the last one that Perlo was not with us with. But Sharks and Wild. I personally like Sharks team total under. What about you here?
Yeah, I already have that too. I got it last night when it was at a better price now, because I think it's at -160 or something like that. Yeah. But it was -140 when I picked it up. And I with Alex as well, because I was listening to you guys in the car when I came. I am going to take Minnesota team total over here at 3.5. This is an opportunity for them, especially after the first period, if they're feeling good about themselves. The one thing that they really are wanting to work on is scoring. And if there's anybody to work on that with, it's Georgiev. So I don't care who
it's Georgiev tonight. Yeah.
I don't care what team you are. If you Georgiev plus that defense equals X team having a chance at plus team total over. So I got Minnesota team total over. And then you can just play around. Also, again, go over to my Twitter. Perlo's NHL POW. This is a great prop game that you can put. You can parlay some props and stuff like that to take like Minnesota money line. I will say this though, this is a really tough spot for Minnesota. They come off that Dallas game. They have Calgary in the next game, and I know you're supposed to be focused on this game, no doubt about it. They want to get this win and kill it, and I think they will. But I don't think it's outlandish to think that they could underestimate San Jose in the first period here, much like we saw in Calgary as well. And San Jose like we were talking about Anaheim with speed. This San Jose team has speed, and Minnesota isn't the greatest with teams with speed. I think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to take a little sliver to just in case, because I'm a high volume bettor. I'm going to put a little sliver on San Jose first period at plus 195. I think it's possible, or San Jose to score first, maybe might be other.
Right. That's a decent price. Yeah.
Score first and under 2.5. Trying to hit them both. Yeah.
Yeah. Score first and under 2.5, because I don't think.
And we're in that -300, -400 range with that favorite. Fading the favorite, giving up the first goal. So
yeah, something like that. I might do that because Fleury hasn't played in a while. San Jose could surprise him early, but I still don't think they're going to score another 2 goals after that. I think they'll be completely shut down if they do. So I haven't pulled the trigger on it, but I might do it.
I'm just looking to see the recent games. Not more so in Minnesota. Has San Jose scored in the first period? I know the last 2 they have not. They have not scored in the first period. The last 2 games in Minnesota. So, but and plus the -300 favorite with the underdog scoring in the first period, not nearly as strong. That
true.
Is the -400 or greater. Yeah. Those are the ones that has been. Really
I got to think about that one a little more. So again, go to Perlo's NHL POW. You'll get it if I decide to jump on it.
Yeah, check it out. Perlo's Twitter for more. All right, bargain bin special of the night, Alex. What do you like?
Yeah, we got to go to that Tampa Bay Toronto game, and we got to, like I said, look at him. He's been a Leaf killer, and we go with Nick Paul. Get him anytime goal scorer plus 370. That's a decent price. Both of us have cashed with him multiple times over the years, so let's roll with him once again. Nick Paul, anytime goal scorer plus 370 for the Tampa Bay Lightning. That is my Wednesday bargain bin special.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, plus 385 for Nick Paul, Tampa Bay Lightning. For Alex with his bargain bin special of the night. Perlo, bargain bin special.
I got two. I can't decide which one. Again, I'm going to go to that Minnesota game. I do think Minnesota is going to score in that game. And if Minnesota is going to score in that game, I think Rossi will get 2 points. So I'm going to take Rossi for over. It's just such good value. Plus 380 for Rossi to get over 1.5 points. So I'm going to go with that one. And I think I'm taking one from you. I also think it's the day that Snuggerud scores. So I'm going to take Snuggerud ATG for St. Louis.
All right, there you go. Jimmy Snuggerud for the St. Louis Blues to get his first NHL goal. And again, you get a good north of plus 300 price on that, as well as Marco Rossi over 1.5 points for the Minnesota Wild at plus 380 for Perlo with his two bargain bin specials of the night. Bargain bin special for me for this slate. I'm going to give you two because I don't know if he's playing. And the one I was going to go with, and now I'm seeing he's game time decision, may or may not play. The one I was going to go with was Ryan Poehling for Philadelphia, plus 500. He scored in 3 straight games. I don't know if he's going to play, but I'm still going to give that out as a bargain bin in case he doesn't. And then I'm also going to give you a replacement in case he doesn't play for the Philadelphia Flyers. So one is Ryan Poehling. We don't know if he'll be in the lineup, but if he is, it's a great bet. He scored in 3 straight games, and he's plus 500 tonight for the Philadelphia Flyers. And if it's not him, we will go with instead. I'm just trying to think who it's going to be. There's a couple in that St. Louis game I'm eyeing. I'm going to go with, let me just see here. Let me see what the price is on him. If there's any books that have plus 300 or better. Yeah, we do have books that are Pavel Buchnevich, plus 325. He's on a heater right now for the St. Louis Blues. Plus 325 at Betano. Pavel Buchnevich, St. Louis Blues. Thanks to Betano, we've got it over plus 300 because not many do have it at that price. They do. Plus 325. And again, this is a guy that has been getting goals 3 straight games with a goal for Pavel Buchnevich. So there you go. Ryan Poehling plus 500 for Philly. And then even if he doesn't play, you've still got Pavel Buchnevich at plus 325 for St. Louis. So there you go. 2 bargain bin specials for me on this Wednesday night. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Yep, head out to Anaheim where the fire, I believe, will continue to rise with the Calgary Flames. Give me them on the regulation line minus $1.05. They get 2 points, 2 very important points heading into their showdown with Minnesota on Friday. So Calgary Flames in regulation. That's my Wednesday best bet.
Calgary in regulation against Anaheim. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. Perlo, best bet.
I want to take 2 here, but I'm not. I'm going to go with that Philadelphia Flyers team total over.
Good pick. Good pick. Philadelphia Flyers team total over 2.5, right around even money with that for Perlo with his best bet. My best bet for this one, price is a little deflated, but we'll take it anyway. St. Louis plus 100 against Edmonton. This normally would be a little bit of a bubble burst spot for St. Louis, but they get Edmonton doing them a favor, sitting everybody, lacking really a lot of burning desire to finish the regular season, top speed. And I think St. Louis, clinch this playoff spot quicker, get it done. St. Louis for me, plus 100 against Edmonton for my best bet. Shout out to everyone in the chat at the like button. We appreciate it very much. And again, tomorrow it's a big day again. Doubleheader, live show, and Brett McLean reunited with him tomorrow on the show. Looking forward to him being back on the show tomorrow. It's been a while, so it'll be nice to have him back on the show. And of course, we got the Betcast at night, Patreon exclusive. Make sure you sign up, patreon.com/iceguys. And get involved with the live Betcast. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith and Perlo, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And back at you with the Daily Show and the Betcast tomorrow on Thursday right here on the Ice Guys.